This is Keep Talking. I'm Anuradha Sengupta. The horrific death of NCP leader and Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar in an air crash has left the people of Maharashtra in a state of shock and mourning. It has also left the politics in the state in even greater flux. For now, Rajya Sabha MP and the wife of Ajit Pawar, Sunetra Pawar, has been sworn in his place as Deputy Chief Minister. So it looks like his family has consolidated its hold on the NCP. But to understand what the ramifications of this tragedy will be on Maharashtra's politics and its governance, I am joined now by Loksatta editor Girish Kuber. Girish, welcome once again on this podcast. We are speaking in a shocking, in the aftermath of a shocking development in Maharashtra.
Yeah, it is indeed. And one of the very powerful politician who was trying to come out of his more powerful uncle's shadow, and suddenly disappeared. And unfortunately, Maharashtra has had so many such mishaps, right from Pramod Mahajan, Vilas Rao Deshmukh, R.R. Patil, Gopinath Munde. In their prime, Maharashtra lost so many good politicians. So, and this was the youngest of them all. That's a really serious tragedy. Maharashtra will find it difficult to come out of it.
What would you say is the impact that Ajit Pawar has had on Maharashtra's politics in his political career and life before we get into the impact of his death?
See, Pawar had brought the next generation of Maratha youth, laborers, landless laborers to the NCP. If you look at the trajectory of Pawar's, the senior Pawar, the veteran Pawar, was associated with all the big Maratha dynasties, land lords and sugar cooperative barons and kind of stuff. And Ajit was exactly, not exactly opposite, but Ajit took the next step of bringing in those from the downtrodden Maratha communities, So if you can connect it with the reservation demand, Maratha reservation demand, and then link it with Ajit's rise, one can understand the connect, So the generation next from Maratha community, it was all Ajit, and he was a hero. It's in Mumbai, we won't not believe it, but people used to. The young one, they started copying him, the way he speaks, the way he's, the sartorial sense, the body language. People had started following Ajit Dada. So he was quite a maverick in connecting with masses. And that's a huge loss for the next generation.
I find it interesting that you said, in Mumbai, somehow we may have missed the impact that he had on the masses and on his followers, but we did see this outpouring of grief in Baramati. We saw people just break down emotionally across board, and we have read many of the tributes that have come into him. We'll go back to Ajit Pawar's, the tributes that came into him and your assessment of his political leadership. But I want to talk a little bit about the politics that we are now facing, or we are now witnessing. So we saw that the opposition parties have started making statements about, raising doubts about the shocking nature of his death. Is this just political opportunism, or is there, because of this whole, this whole story that the two NCP parties were going to merge and Ajit Pawar was leading that merger from the front, that could have had something to do? How would you, as, a seasoned political journalist, react to this?
You also may agree. Indians love conspiracy theories, So there must be something more than what you and me see, But honestly speaking, there is nothing so far. Nobody has found. There are efforts to create doubt about the accident, whether it was really accident, and somebody saying that how he knew BJP secrets and how he was talking about deals. BJP had struck with so many big industrialists and all those things. But this is laughable to say the least, and it was a genuine accident. Uh, See, it's not new. I mean, I'm sure as a journalist, you must have traveled with various politicians during
Yeah.
election time. They are in a terrible hurry. I'm not saying that Ajit Dada also fits in that category, but they actually push limits,
Yeah.
I mean, it may be the landing time, it may be the fuel. I mean, I myself had at least 4 or 5 instances I can easily tell where we had a emergency landing. Once it was with Nitin Gadkari, once was with Gopinath Munde, twice in Bihar. So the kind of schedule they follow, it's very hectic, and add to it not so comfortable or the confidence about this private airline business. Now there are reports that the same company faced some actions in Europe for the small jets. It's a very unorganized sector. So I mean, forget the technicalities. I don't see any mischief or any larger play in his race. It's a pure unfortunate accident. It looks like.
Help us understand the NCP parties looking to merge, because that seems to be the suggestion seems to be that after contesting together in the municipal corporation elections, at least in Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad, and then now contesting together in the Zilla Parishad elections, that the plan was to come together to merge, and that Mr. Ajit Pawar was very keen and driving this from the front himself. Explain to me, what was this merger that everybody's talking about? And I believe there's a statement attributed to Mr. Sharad Pawar that this merger would have been announced on the 12th of February. What is this merger, and would this merger have led to the NCP continuing to be with the Mahayuti in Maharashtra, or would it have exited? I'm not able to understand the reason for the merger.
It's not only you. No one has been able to dissect what exactly that means. Sharad Pawar continues to be untouchable to the BJP. Same is BJP to Sharad Pawar. BJP, Ajit Dada's party and NCP leadership can't see eye to eye till few weeks back. So what exactly this merger was? So no one knows, honestly speaking. And the first step about the merger was taken by Ajit Dada ahead of elections, and that too, the kind of setback he suffered in municipal council polls. He realized that it's going to get tough dealing with the BJP, and that's how the merger talk began. But how it would have been operationalized, no one knows. Actually, even today, no one now, and the most vocal votary of that merger is gone. So how BJP would have dealt with, whether BJP would have liked to, because see, this is a simple example of the small municipal council in Ambernath, Mumbai suburbs, where BJP tried to have an alliance with the Congress. CM personally intervened and withdrew from it. He compelled BJP leaders to get out of that. So how they would have had it with Sharad Pawar, who is aligned with Congress? I mean, no one knows anything. It's bizarre, to say the least. And it's kind of that theater of absurd. But it was too much of rather talk about that alliance, and like in any other political development, most of it came from the media. It was the media that was more interested in alliance than the Sharad Pawar and Ajit Dada factions are. And now CM, now Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis is making it clear that alliance is not possible without having BJP's view taken into consideration. So I think it's difficult from here onwards for the alleged merger.
So it's so interesting that you are saying that this was pretty much media speculation and a media created news, and yet it is the fact is that the two NCP parties did contest together and were planning to contest together, and Mr. Ajit Pawar did want this alliance to happen. What was his motivation? Is that because he felt that it would make his party stronger? Even though you're
See,
saying it may not be, it may be purely speculative and the operational details of a possible alliance,
yes.
nobody knows.
Alliance, I mean, we have seen so many alliances ahead of elections. Any party allies these days with anyone,
Yeah.
That's not an issue. Merger is a different thing. Merger is a different thing.
Yeah.
And whose role, what it will have, it was absolutely unclear. I mean, I tried to speak to the other faction. I mean, I spoke also a lot with many from both factions, and everybody said, let's see, we'll cross the bridge when it comes. And unfortunately, with Ajit Dada demise, it looks difficult to have this bridge now coming in front of them now. But alliance, I have no, I mean, there is nothing can be said about alliances, because there are elections. I mean, as they say, I mean, so many strange bedfellows Indian politics has thrown, So this was one of them, and the reason was that not to divide the Maratha vote, and Pawar's at the end of the day. See, you talked about the kind of crowd it had gathered for this cremation. This can happen only about Pawar's, Why? Because there is a chain that has been built up till the down, right from top. So there are hundreds of cooperatives, dairies, and textile industries, and what do you call them, farming initiatives. So people's lives have been made because of Pawar's, The grape variety developed in Nasik region, the farming community, it so much was grateful of Pawar. They named it a Charat Seedless. So that kind of affections and connections Pawars have with actually the farming community and masses. So the nitty-gritties of merger were I doubt were ever discussed.
It's so interesting that it is not just the politics and political fortunes, but the political economy of the region that is linked to this particular family's political success and work that they have done, right? Girish, let's talk about the fact that we saw Sunetra Pawar being sworn in less than 4 days, or within 4 days of the demise of Mr. Ajit Pawar. One thing is clear, that political families have no scope of private grieving and mourning. There is just, as a spectator, as a witness to this from the public, I'm watching this and I'm saying, my God, there is just no time to come to terms with your own personal loss or grief, and you have to keep moving to keep, the party politics going. What do you make of this rushed swearing in? Was it needed for any administrative reason? Because I can't see it. Or is it purely political?
I think it's more than political. It was purely personal, and to avoid further frictions within the party and with Sharad Pawar faction. The unbelievable, illogical, at times one can say disgraceful and disrespectful also. Hurry was very much evident, and technically it was not needed. I mean, I received a lot of flack because I wrote a front page editorial saying it's wrong. She could have waited, from the party's point of view also, and the government would have also at this kind of a gap. But the fear of someone taking over the party and the fear of some things slipping out of our hand, that must have compelled Mrs. Pawar to take a decision. And the way it was taken, it doesn't say good about Family Connect also.
What do you mean? Yeah, but I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so what I mean is that, I mean, that's what Loksatta broke the story on Sunday, saying that Pawars are unaware. They were not informed, and she just left Baramati and as a last minute courtesy, minimum courtesy, that's what Pawar said. And the very next day, he had a press conference early morning in Pune on Sunday, where he said, I'm not aware.
Yeah.
And this must be party's decision, not Pawar's decision. So the cracks were wide in the open, cracks political as well as personal and family ties also. So I think. It doesn't look good. I just forget it. All the political divide and good, bad, ugly, whatever. But from the optics point of view, it would have been more respectful to have her sworn in after some little more period, not on the third or fourth day of his demise.
You said that you got some negative reactions and some flack for expressing this opinion. Why is that?
You won't find any logic, any reason on that, but the beauty this time was that those criticizing me were equally criticized by those who supported Loksatta for taking this logical stand, and who, many of them have, right from judges to bureaucrats. Many said it's a very wise thing. It's a very bold and rightful thing Loksatta did. But that, best thing is to ignore those reaction, good, bad, whatever.
You just explained to us the kind of hold and the power of the Pawar name, in Maharashtra politics, in Western Maharashtra. So therefore, my next question, actually, now I feel like I can't ask it, because you would imagine that this in Indian politics, once there is this kind of untimely, tragic demise of a leader, other political leaders who have created and nurtured and built parties will automatically be in line for roles. But traditionally in India, we don't see this happen at all. And this is another case where, again, none of the leaders of the NCP Ajit Pawar faction are anywhere in the running to run this party. Is that a fair assessment? Will now Sunetra Pawar take over the party and be able to run it? Any predictions on this front? Because, I can now understand Mr. Eknath Shinde and a whole bunch of other people who've left parties, including Mr. Sharad Pawar, because families start falling into precedence over any meritocracy or professionalism.
That's correct. It's absolutely fair. And so why it works, one has to have this analysis, because that's the only cementing force, So it may be Gandhi's, it may be Thackeray's, or it may be Pawar's now, So and now in this situation, what works more than logic is emotions. So the widow, we should be seen some. And the sympathy part comes into play, and she becomes a kind of a family, political family glue. Nothing else sticks to nothing else. This thing works. And I'm sure now when she contests by election, because she will have to become
she'll have to be elected to the assembly.
Yeah. I'm sure the election will be unopposed. No one will contest against her, because that's what the tradition is, to respect those sentiments. Whether they really mean or not, that's a different story. But the political system they follow, no one will be contesting against her.
Do you have any assessment of what kind of political career she might embark on? Will she be her own person, or will the other leaders of the NCP, Ajit Pawar faction, be able to guide her?
Ajit Pawar faction aligning with the BJP was not a political alignment. It was a compulsion. In lieu of that, what he got, all the central agencies were off the back. So BJP found an extreme utility in having Ajit Dada on their side, and that's how it worked. And now, unless she proves her utility, that she is equal match to Pawar's, she will be respected by the BJP also. It's all about use and throw theory, I mean, unless and until she proves her mettle that she can mop up those votes and supports, and she can. History doesn't say so. I mean, if history is an indicator, she herself has lost election against her own relative.
Yes.
Her son has lost elections. So, and see, as of now, honestly speaking, there are only two Pawars that they could muster votes in the Western Maharashtra. One was Sharad Pawar, one is Sharad Pawar, and the other was Ajit Dada. Now, she will have to prove that she is part of the Pawar clan, and get that kind of support. That will be her test.
Today, when tributes and obituaries are being written to Mr. Pawar, there are many things that people are saying, but we never speak ill of the dead, and perhaps rightly so. But there is a tendency to look at the lesser of the faults that a politician has, So the corruption allegations, whether it was the irrigation scams or others, or the most recent case concerning his son, all of those allegations of corruption, which have never left, which were always there, though none have reached any conclusion in a formal sense. Do you think when you write an obituary for a political leader like Ajit Pawar, what were some of the things that you kept in mind? Because you wrote about it, and I know that you began with patience, and I found it very interesting that, even in the context of the comment you make on the swearing in, again, lack of patience is on display.
I think that era we should leave behind. Don't talk ill about those, gone by. Because then there will not be a real assessment. In Ajit Pawar's case, see, I mean, a simple logical question is, if he is out of guilt, why don't you tell us that those allegations were wrong? I mean, no one is saying about that, I mean, ideally, BJP would have, or those who aligned with him, would have had a simple task. They would have said, no, whatever happened, it's wrong. I mean, nothing could be proved. I mean, right from Bofors to, say, Reha Chakravarti, no one's allegations against get confirmed. And how can we not talk about that, I mean, when person none less than Prime Minister talks about it, 70,000 crore scam, and he didn't talk only about Ajit Dada. He talked about Ashok Chavan also, saying that this man should be in jail.
Yeah.
So I mean, how we not write about such things? This has nothing to do with Ajit Dada's abilities. I mean, Ajit Dada had his own plus points, but everybody aligning with one party, and it's not me or anybody's kind of. Just a thought that these people went to BJP because of that. One of the leaders who switched over to BJP publicly said, now I can have a good night's sleep. No one will be knocking my doors at midnight. And that's what everybody felt. And that's what the reality is. Otherwise, how can you have persons like Sunil Tadkare, Praful Patel, suddenly in Hindutva bandwagon? This is a tricky situation.
It's very interesting. Some of the obituaries actually talked about the fact that, he was, Ajit Pawar managed to retain the fact that he was a secular person, a secular politician, and that he had no tolerance or patience for this kind of religious politics that were being played by his ally. And yet, Girish, I have to ask you, if this is the case, the point remains that he enabled the BJP to come to power, isn't it? Not one, but several times. So then, what is the assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I find it's ridiculous of this kind of description. Who is religious and who is secular. I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, Chhagan Bhujbal, why he was in the BJP, and this largely what I'm trying to say applies to particularly so-called national and English media. I mean, when he was with Shiv Sena. He was part of the Saffron gang. The moment he switched over to Congress, and suddenly English media and everybody started welcoming him as a secular leader. I mean, if he was secular, then I mean, how you associate it with the BJP? I mean, or then you have to say BJP is also secular. Or you have to forget there is nothing like this debate, But so I don't think so. It was just like any other opportune moment for the man. He had to be in power. Ajit Pawar, look at the history. He always had his presence on the right side of the establishment, and that's what the history is. That's what I wrote also in the Indian Express. I mean, the kind of chief ministers he had served with, I mean. Right from Uddhav Thackeray to Eknath Shinde to Devendra Fadnavis, right from rookie politician or rookie administrator to the most veteran, Having said that, it doesn't mean that Ajit Dada doesn't have the qualities. The great part of the Ajit Dada's association was that once he accepts anyone as a leader, he won't do anything to destabilize that person. So whoever chief minister Ajit Dada worked with, they're extremely comfortable with him. Unfortunately, we have to say in the past tense, because that's what Ajit Dada's quality is. He knew administration. The man will be in Mantralaya at 7 o'clock in the morning. Will be there till 5 o'clock. Won't mind traveling to other side of Maharashtra to meet people and handle issues. He know. I mean, the kind of finance, kind of agricultural knowledge, kind of administrative thing. I mean, Ajit Dada was super brilliant compared to all those other Johnnies from the NCP, And that's what it comes with when you are part of Pawar family. Again, you have to go back to that roots,
That kind of training, that kind of practical hands-on training over decades.
Upbringing, another thing you will find, he was very respectful of the opposition. He was very respectful of the bureaucracy. He will not throw tantrums at the small junior officers, I mean, so these are the things, I like classical congressmen, the way these people behave, I mean, not bad-mouthing officials in private and in public, and be friendly with the opposition also. In the current environment of considering opposition party members as your enemies, Ajit Dada stood out. Ajit Dada was a different politician. I mean, he had equal ties with BJP and as well as from the opposition members also.
So how interesting, as I was reading all these obituaries and tributes, it was so interesting to see that in politics, at the end of the day, it is all about pragmatism, right? So is an able administrator a bigger achievement, or is having corruption a bigger negative? I think these are the corruption allegations a bigger negative. Is being secular a bigger plus point, or is allying with a party that is not secular a bigger negative? I think at the end of the day, these are just trade-offs, and pragmatism is what you need to assess political leaders, especially today, isn't it?
So that's why I say there is too much of gray area. There is nothing like black and white, I mean, it reminds me of a great social thinker, Agarkar, Gopal Ganesh Agarkar, in 19th century. He said, I mean, religiosity or faith doesn't mean that one has to be, that should be associated with the morality. Even the atheist can also be equally moral. So the religious connect doesn't make anything, someone is religious doesn't mean that he is not so friendly with the other religious people. Ajit Dada was of that part, So again, connecting with Pawar, you will not find Pawar going to any Baba, Bapu or Mat, and wearing those threads, sacred threads, or having kind of a religious symbols on them, they will be equally comfortable with every religion, and that's what Ajit Dada was.
One question on Maharashtra: we've seen the municipal corporation results, and we saw the BJP showing. We know we have other elections coming up, district level, and we know that there is a budget that is going to be presented for the state, in a couple of months' time, which was actually Mr. Ajit Pawar's responsibility. A quick question on Maharashtra's governance today.
The biggest thing that has happened in Maharashtra after 2024 election is Maharashtra has become unipolar. when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
There is no one on the other side.
Yeah.
That is one. When any state or any region becomes unipolar, one party becoming so strong, such issue doesn't arise, I mean, whether we are doing good, whether we are bad, and that's why the real issues about Maharashtra, we have started talking about it now, when issues are very much are there, So when every energy of every politician is getting wasted or being utilized only for politicking, who is bothered about administration and the Maharashtra's image? That's a big task cut out for Devendra Fadnavis now, and he will have to now, along with the BJP, along with the government, he will have to manage Ajit Dada's NCP also, So that's what reality is.
What do you make of Devendra Fadnavis's, Davos? He's come back from Davos with some more MOUs. I know he's got a lot of criticism for those visits, but keep that aside. Where do you see Maharashtra in the next 3 years, 4 years that are left of this term, 24 onwards?
As long as Devendra Fadnavis is in the saddle, there is some hope, because the man means business. There is nothing one can talk about his administrative skills and handling India INC, So that's the hope Maharashtra is pinning on you. That's the only one person. But otherwise, the kind of mess politically Maharashtra has witnessed and is still witnessing, that gives some kind of a reduced doubt about the ability to counter this. Because there are so many negatives and against just one positive. So that's a big problem. I mean, too much of politicking has given rise to too many politicians, and cost of investment in Maharashtra has gone up hugely because you have to satisfy so many political bosses. You can understand what I mean.
I mean, we know about the kind of money that was spent in Mumbai for the PMC election. So
this is outrageous, and then so that is the real challenge, and that's why people are investors are not coming to Maharashtra the way they used to be, because of this politicking. So unless it is not taken into consideration, things will remain murky for a while, and that's what they are now. He's trying to see MOUs and all that's fine. That makes good headline, but unless it gets translated into ground, So and that we have seen how MOUs are sold. Gujarat, vibrant Gujarat is a great example. So let's hope that some of them at least get translated on the ground.
Girish, as usual, thank you for talking to me. This untimely death of Ajit Pawar will only make this flux of Maharashtra politics worse and create this new political culture that we are witnessing in this state. As usual, for enlightening me and the viewers here, a big thank you. And we'll talk again. We'll keep talking.
We'll keep talking. Thank you. Thanks a lot.